Yo, what is up, boys and girls? The Mirko. Welcome back to another one of these videos. Today, we will be doing a rating video for all the lineups from MPL ID and MPL PH. And what I'm going to be doing a bit differently from the past is I'll be talking about my personal point of view on a lot of these teams, why I think the previous lineups or what weaknesses the previous lineups had, and if the new lineup actually does cover a lot of the weaknesses that the previous lineup had before. Was it an improvement? Is it a downgrade? Stuff like that. And yeah, I guess we'll start instantly with the first team. First team we got is going to be FNATIC ONIC. And I know a lot of you guys are already waiting for FNATIC ONIC, so let's just get started with FNATIC ONIC. And as you can see from the lineup there in the top left corner of the video, it is the exact same lineup. There is not going to be a single change made to the lineup. Actually, you know what? There is a change. Technically, for the main lineup itself, nothing has changed from last season, right? Because this is the main lineup plus Albert. Still with Yeb and Adi too, but there is a big figure that has left the scene, at least for ONIC. And again, we don't know if this is confirmed yet, or maybe they'll confirm it on the day of MPL ID. But yeah, Boots won't be playing, won't be even in the lineup of FNATIC ONIC, which is very, very sad, obviously. And to lose someone like Boots, even though he wasn't playing, I feel like he still, had a lot of impact behind the scenes for the team. He's one of the subs that I think played a pretty good role in the team despite just being a sub. But let's talk about the weaknesses that I personally have been seeing for FNATIC ONIC. And if I want to go back to the MPL season 13, 13 season to talk about their weaknesses, I wouldn't be able to really dissect their weaknesses because again, in season 13, it looked like they were all just good, right? So we'll have to take a look at their MSC performance and their Snapdragon Pro Series performance. And both those performances for MSC was abysmal. Snapdragon was a bit better. But still, I think the fact that they didn't change their lineup at all here still makes sense to me, right? Because for me, teams that have been at the top for a while will have slumps. I think this has happened to different teams before as well. I think it happened to Echo. They won M4. They won Season 11. But then in MSC, they dropped. And after that, in Snapdragon, they dropped as well. And they weren't even able to make it back to, the M series at M5. And they were beaten by a lot of the other teams. So, and in the end, by the way, Echo actually went back to their original lineup, which is still the lineup that we see today, just with one change in the roam. And technically, that's kind of what we're seeing from FNATIC ONIC too, right? Only really changing the XP lane, but everybody's remaining the same, which I think is still good because I think the biggest problem for FNATIC ONIC isn't really that the players have just become bad, have just become untalented, have become players with no potential and players who've just hit their limit and will never hit that limit ever again. Because I think that's a bit too wild. I think a lot of people, especially the FNATIC ONIC haters, will definitely want to try to bring that as the main topic for any FNATIC ONIC game when they underperform. But honestly, for me, the biggest issue that I see for FNATIC ONIC has got to be shot calling and mental. I think when it comes to making decisions in the game, it's very important to have a shot caller. And I don't know if they have lost the main shot caller in Boots because Boots was the captain. But from the understanding that I got for FNATIC ONIC for the longest time, they all the members in FNATIC ONIC make calls. And they will make a decision based on who they think has the best call, which is a strange way to do it. I've been saying it's strange for a long time, but if it works for them, having 5 people shot call, then sure, and it has been working for them. It worked for them. They were able to make it to win everything last year except the M5 Grand Finals, which they were a game away from winning too. So yeah, very, very close stuff for FNATIC ONIC. And I think the mental part of this is also a big problem. This is a bit of a nitpick because, again, I don't know. But right as they lose their mental coach that has been with them all the way from Season 10, when they started winning the championships, when they started, improving by a lot, they suddenly now are in a slump. I think the last time I saw their mental coach was last year. I don't remember seeing her in Season 13. And I don't know. It definitely feels like, based on the performances at least, that without the mental coach, it has impacted the team. Without having a mental coach, maybe they're just not mentally prepared coming into a lot of these matches. And that's why we're seeing, a lot of the weird decisions, weird hesitant movements from a lot of the members here. They were all I think there was a clip of me talking about, in Snapdragon a few times where they just it just didn't feel like ONIC. You definitely don't expect ONIC to make those kind of miscoms where 2 people want to go in, 2 people want to go out. It's a very uncommon mistake that we see in like the highest level. It's downright amateurish. But if we're talking about the lineup, I still think FNATIC ONIC are a very, very strong lineup. This is possibly still the best lineup in MPL Indonesia right now. Definitely still a top dog. So I guess we're going to move to the tier list itself. Move FNATIC ONIC. Where do I think it is that they're going to place here in the standings? I would still say that they are an S tier lineup, right? Again, despite the fact that obviously they have had bad luck and bad performances in the last 2 international tournaments, the lineup itself isn't bad. And I think if they are able to fix the mental issues, if they are able to fix, you know, these little decision-making stuff, miscommunications, that they will still be very, very strong because their main 5 and their coaching staff is still really good. They're experiencing a big slump, but I hope that they can still get it done. Let's move on to the next team. On to the next team, and the next team is going to be Liquid Aura, or Liquid Indonesia now. They're renamed to Liquid Indo, and as you can see from the lineup here, they have Aaron Shiki. It's King Gugun still. Now, oh, he's brought back the king in his name, so it's King Gugun, no longer just Gugun. We got Aran still in the lineup, Yawi, and the big boy here, the new member of the team that has the new import, the only import that is added in to MPL ID. James actually joining the lineup, and Richie and Kabuki. So the main changes here, if you guys don't know, they're lineups from the previous season. They had Yehezkiel in the mid lane in previous season. Now he's been downgraded or demoted back to MDL, and Richie will be taking his place. He was the MDL mid laner for Team Liquid Academy, or Aura Blaze, it was called. That's their MDL team. And it's the same for Aaron Shiki. That's where he comes from. He played in the MDL team. And I would say, let's get to the weaknesses and, you know, the parts I would improve for Liquid Aura back in Season 13, right? Because in Season 13, it was very, very easy to talk about their mistakes. I think number 1 has got to be the very predictable draft. And this might be a coaching issue. This also might be a player issue. I think it's a bit of both, right? Because for Kabuki, he literally only played 2 heroes well, which is the Claude and the carry. That was his hero pool. And yes, we can talk about, you know, how the Roger and the Harith could also be used, but still, that only makes his hero pool just 4. He could only play 4 heroes. In a meta before, in Season 13, where, you know, gold lane was still the hyper carry, you needed to be able to actually pop off on gold lane to carry the game because we were still in utility meta almost, right? Technically, utility meta. We do see a little more assassins in Season 13, but still utility meta. Kabuki was definitely a weak link when it comes to the draft, but when he got his heroes, he was always really, really good. Like, again, the carry, the Harith, the Roger. Unfortunately, hero pool's not that good. And it was the same for Gugun. Gugun only played the utility junglers, and he never played the assassins in the playoffs. And he already did perform on the assassins in the regular season too. So again, don't know what happened there, but it's weird that we only see him on the utility in the playoffs, and that's definitely something that they will be looking to improve. Yawi as well, unfortunately, even though he was definitely the strong point for the team, I would say the drafts become very, very easy to read for, you know, Auras, for Liquid opponents because of Yawi's picks too. Yawi last season was only on the Grok and the Tigreal, Cho Kaja. Those are the only 4. Like, those literally were the 4 picks that we saw from him, and that's it. Aran was probably the most diverse when it came down to, you know, hero picks and the hero pool that he had. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to really fully pop off on these picks either, right? I think, again, it's a culmination of a lot of things. Yehezkiel was also making a lot of rookie mistakes, and towards the very end as well, he still kept on making those rookie mistakes. So I think this time they've actually, I would say, improved their lineup by quite a bit. They've gotten James, and from what I've heard, for James, this is a fun fact for you guys. Yawi was the main shot caller last season, but apparently now the captain of the team for Liquid Aura, for Liquid Indo, is James. A newcomer is the captain, which is very, very cool to see, right? I don't know if James is just that good at shot calling, or if he's just him, you know, he's a leader figure in the team. But it's very cool to see a newcomer, an import, just become a leader of the team or become the captain of the team. And I guess we'll see how he does, because I've heard great things about James. He was phenomenal in MDL Philippines when he was playing for Echo, I believe, yeah. It was Echo, right? Echo, was it Echo Loud? I forgot the name of the MDL team, but yeah, you know, James is really, really good. And I think he should be able to be a very like strong XP laner to actually enable Gugun and enable Yaoi too. For Gugun, I think it's just the improvement. But again, let's talk about the newcomers here, Aaron, Shiki, and Richie. I don't know how good Richie is, honestly, because I didn't really pay attention to MDL ID last season. But the fact that he has been, you know, chosen over Yehezkiel means that they're going to try to give Richie a chance. And I think this is good because Yehezkiel, he's gotten, what, around, like, he got 2 seasons now to perform. It wasn't like Liquid were not giving him the chance to perform or not giving him the time to actually improve. They did. They gave him 2 seasons. And unfortunately, in the last 2 seasons, he really wasn't able to do that well. There were a lot of good points, obviously. Like, there were a lot of shining moments for Yehezkiel, but in the end, a lot of big mistakes led to the team even losing. Very amateurish mistakes from Yehezkiel, but very good plays when it's like very high peaks, very low lows for Yehezkiel. And I think for Richie, what he adds to the team is a bit more stability. Compared to the volatile nature of the previous mid lane in Yehezkiel, Richie definitely tries to be just, you know, there for the team. And maybe it'll work out. The fact that they already have star players like James, Yaoi, Gugun, and Kabuki all around, they need someone to just be stable. And I think it's good to place him in the mid lane. You just need a stable player in the mid lane. And another addition to the roster is Aaron Shiki, which I personally am a fan of. I actually really like how he performed in MDL. In a lot of the Snapdragon I think he was in Snapdragon, or was it another amateur tournament? But Aaron Shiki was good. Like, he actually played really, really well in the MDL team. And I think this is a good wake-up call for Kabuki. Kabuki is still really good. Don't get me wrong here. When it comes to mechanics, when it comes to him playing on a Comfort Heroes, he's amazing. But again, he was the biggest weakness for Aura in the previous season because of his very small hero pool. So now that Aaron Shiki is here, it should push Kabuki to learn new heroes. It should push Kabuki to new heights. And I'm actually expecting Kabuki to pop off this season. Like, this is the season where he tries to beat the haters, you know, beat the doubters, beat all the allegations against his performance in the previous season. Is this an upgrade? Yes. But how big of an upgrade it is? Let's see. In the tier list here, Liquid. I would say last time they were around like B tier, right? Because they were consistent, but it was just very easy to read all their drafts and stuff. And I think they will definitely be able to make it A. And I want to put them in S, actually. We'll see how this goes, because honestly, we might see, like, we'll have another segment later, like when we have all the teams ranked, where we try to re-rank everyone based on, you know, the strength of all the teams. But right now, I think it's safe to put Liquid in very, very high A, because this is a team with a lot of potential, and I'm actually looking forward to how they'll perform in their first match, which is going to be FNATIC ONIC versus Liquid. Go and check it out. Tomorrow is the big match, FNATIC ONIC versus Liquid. Yeah, but let's move on to the next team. Let's get to the next team on the list, and it is going to be GEEK Fam. Third, or actually almost second place. Third place last season. Got beaten up by EVOS, unfortunately. And yeah, it was just really, really sad for GEEK Fam. Let's take a look at the roster here. It is still going to be a boy in the lineup, together with Beloyski, Vincent, Chadera. So yeah, Vincent is a new addition. Gobbs is a new addition. Bluffsy is still going to be there. And we do have a new analyst there, it does seem like, for them. It's Dora. Am I saying it right? Oh, I'm trying to look at it. Dora, yeah. Analyst, and then they'll have Veldora as well, and Masako. So the 3 new members in the team is Vincent, Masako, and Veldora. For Vincent, Rebellion jungler, very, very good, very stable, amazing retribution. But I honestly feel like for GEEK Fam, Vincent should be an upgrade, like on paper. So let's just get to the point here, right? Weaknesses for GEEK Fam last season, jungler for sure. Even though Ray improved in the playoffs, I think he did really, really good despite, you know, all the criticism. And I think he used the criticism to actually improve. But I remember calling Ray the worst jungler in MPL ID last season. For good reason, too. Because he was just not performing in the regular season. For some reason, it doesn't feel like he has his own, like, thoughts. He just follows whatever is being called by the team. And as a jungler, especially an assassin jungler, that's something sometimes you need. Just, you know, your own thought process of how to tackle the game. And Ray didn't have that. Hazel did, however. And I think Hazel was the better jungler. I think many of you guys agree with me when I say Hazel is the better jungler compared to Ray back in GEEK Fam. But I got information, by the way, as to why they actually didn't go and play Hazel all the time. I think it was a school-related issue, but it basically, yeah, it came down to him not being able to play as much, and that's why they had to play Ray over Hazel last season. But still, Ray was definitely a big weakness, in my opinion. And I think the biggest weakness for Geek Fam isn't actually Ray. In the playoffs, it was them always going all in or all out. That's their, it's a high risk, high reward strategy, high risk, high reward shot calling from Beloyski. It's something that we've come accustomed to now when we're talking about Geek Fam, but it's something they definitely need to try to fix, right? Because yes, they can make a lot of big moments happen when they do go for, all ins like this and very risky plays. Like, I think I remember the play where they actually jumped onto Brands in the bottom lane that ended up losing them the game. Sorry. And yeah, so for Geek Fam, it's so volatile whenever they make these kind of decisions. And I think with Vincent in, it definitely adds a bit more stability. You're not going to see those kind of bombastic plays. I think he does have a way to actually, stop the team from doing that. He's always been a very calm jungler. But unfortunately, is he an upgrade? Most people would say he's an upgrade. Again, I would say he is an upgrade if we were still in the utility meta. Because he's an amazing utility jungler. His retributions are on point. His pathing is amazing. He's a good jungler. But when we're talking about assassins, I'm not too sure. I don't know if he can be... he was an assassin player, don't get me wrong. But again, the fact that he's found comfort playing utility junglers, found comfort just winning out in retries with the Fredrin, the Bakshas. I don't know how he can adapt to the assassins, how fast he can adapt to the assassins, right? So that's a concern for me. I would still say it's an upgrade, but if he doesn't learn the assassin and adapts to the assassins quick, then this is actually going to be a downgrade for the team. Let's move on to XP, and it doesn't matter who replaces Luke here because, yeah, I mean, Luke was one of their biggest strengths, definitely, in the last season, and they have lost him. Luke has left the team. Gobs and Veldora, none of them can fill in the shoes of Luke, at least not instantly. Those are some big shoes to fill. Luke wasn't a star from the start. When he joined Geek Fam in Season 10, I still remember him being very meh. He was a very, he wasn't good. He actually was not good. He was bottom tier XP lane when he joined, but through the process and through working with Beloyski, through working with their coaching staff, he improved so much, and then he just became an absolute beast. I would say Luke is the best XP laner in Indonesia. And I mean, he was my vote for first team XP last season, but unfortunately he didn't win. Still though, yeah, Gobs and Veldora definitely can't fill in the shoes. Gobs is still a rookie here in MPL. Veldora, I think Veldora definitely has the potential to actually fill in the shoes of Luke. It's just a different style. Because for Luke, he's mainly a playmaker, right? He does tend to play some of the carries as well, but most of the time he's just a playmaker. He's the guy that wants to engage. He's the guy that wants to make the play to enable the team on the Lapu, on the Terizla, on the Ruby as well. Those were the three picks that we really, aligned with Luke. Whenever we think about those three heroes, it's Luke. But Veldora is more of a carry XP. So that's why maybe in Snapdragon they've been relying on Gobs. They've been trying to utilize, the old playstyle, which is still with the playmaker. And Gobs definitely fits that role a bit better. So Gobs is the playmaker. He's more of the enabler XP. Veldora is definitely more the carry of the team in the XP lane. So we'll see how they actually perform. I would say big downgrade there in XP lane. Masako joining here and Marky leaving. I don't know, man. I'm very biased to the old ONIC PH members like Beloy and Marky. So it's sad, definitely. I'm pretty sad that I won't be seeing Marky and MPL ID anymore. Yeah, it's just very sad, but I understand. Marky didn't get playtime at all last season. I think he definitely deserves better as well, and it seems the team doesn't even need him anymore, which is sad, but unfortunately for Marky, Chadera has been popping off. Biggest problem for Chadera has been always he doesn't perform in the playoffs, but last season, he did. He performed really, really well, and I think for now, Chadera is one of the top gold laners in Indo. I hope he stays consistent and, keeps on performing the way that he does. But it's great that he still has competition. Because Masako, I don't know if you guys watched the MDL Grand Finals just last season, but Masako is an amazing gold laner with a lot of potential. And he's not going to reach, those levels instantly in MPL. But give him some time. And honestly, yeah, Masako is going to be great for the future of Geek Fam. And this lineup is... I don't even need to talk about Aboy and Beloyski. Do you want me to talk about Aboy and Beloyski? We know how good they are. They're good. They're really, really good. Let's move to the tier list here. I think the for me, the big concern when it comes to Geek Fam and rating them is I don't think it's as easy as, putting them in A or S, because I'll actually put them in B. Just from the changes that have been made into the lineup, losing Luke, they have a mini upgrade in Vincent. I don't think it's like a massive upgrade where it's, night and day. Mini upgrade in Vincent going in the jungle, but a massive downgrade in the XP lane. So I think Geek Fam, they were definitely S to like high A to S tier last season, but I'm going to have to downgrade them to B this time. But again, I'm not going to have them stay here. We're going to do mirror recaps every single week, and I know for a fact that Geek Fam will start B to C tier at the start of the season, just like every other season. But give Beloyski time, give Bluffsy time, and they will make these newcomers, these noobs, so-called, monsters again. I think we will see Geek Fam do really shit and then do really good by the end. But yeah, for now, I'm going to put them in in B tier. Because again, it's a very lackluster lineup. They're very good. Don't get me wrong. Okay, a lot of people are going to hate me for this. They're really good. They're really good. But synergy is a big thing for Geek Fam for the longest time. The way that they play, it's very important to have synergy. And the fact that they have a massive downgrade in the XP will definitely stop them from making those big plays happen. I hope I'm wrong, though. But I'm putting this might be a spicy take. But yeah, boom. Bang, bada, bing. Moving on, boys and girls. Let's take a look at Rebellion Esports. For Rebellion, it is technically the same lineup, but again, just some changes here and there. In the XP, it's still going to be Cars. In the jungle, obviously, they lost Vincent. They've actually also lost their coaching staff. Their main head coach, which was Chico. And yeah, it's still going to be Cars, Auditizi, Suelo, and I think that's the 3 members that actually stayed, right? Because yeah, the jungle left, the gold lane left. So now they have 2 replacements. In the gold lane, they actually have Matt. It's a person that we have. I think you guys should know Matt. He was an ex-BIGETRON player, and then he moved to Secret, and then he moved to... I forgot where he moved after Secret, but Matt's still there. Now going to be joining Rebellion Esports, and we also have 2 new members. Well, I don't know if you want to call him new, but again, Aether. He was part of RQ back in the day. He was, a promising young talent, but he just failed to perform in MPL on the biggest stage. For Rio, he's new. He comes from Rebellion's MDL team, and I would say he's actually the better of the 2 of, compared to Aether. Let's talk about their weaknesses last season. Very inconsistent. And I would say, yeah, I think that puts it into... That's a really good way to actually, describe them. A very inconsistent team. I really don't know how to explain it. The drafts were inconsistent. The way they played was inconsistent. Every single thing was inconsistent, because one day they can have an amazing draft and they can execute the game perfectly. They play like a top team. I'm not even talking about top MPL team, top world team even, right? Because we've seen this as well in Snapdragon. When they are when they're on fire, they can get a game off of AP Bren. That's what we saw in Snapdragon, which is insane. But when they're down, I don't know. I really don't know what happens to the team. So hopefully with the change in coaching staff, they can try to fix that, try to make them a bit more stable, because yeah, stability is a big problem for Rebellion Esports. And let's talk about if they have upgraded their lineup, right? Because again, last season, their gold lane was a good addition to the team. It was D from ONIC Prodigy. They loaned him for a season, and he performed really, really well. And I thought for sure he would be staying because of his performances in MPL Indonesia Season 13. But unfortunately here we don't get to see that. We actually see Matt come back. Is that a downgrade? Is that an upgrade? I would say it's a downgrade for Rebellion. Why? I love Matt. I will support Matt. I will support Rebellion because Audi and Matt are from BIGETRON. I still support them. I'm not trying to shit on them and, say that they're not going to do well. But facts are facts. And unfortunately, Matt hasn't been playing in the highest level of MLBB for the longest time. And he'll definitely have to, shake some rust off. And, yeah, I would say he just brings stability to the team for Matt, because he's not the type of goal laner that would actually, make the crazy plays to carry the game. He's more of the goal laner that does well when the team is ahead, does okay, and doesn't do bad when the team is behind even. He's just there. He's consistent. He's a great weak side player. So that's that for Rebellion. I really hope they can utilize Matt in that weak side position. Moving on to the jungle. If they just got Aether here, holy shit, was that a downgrade, bro. I'm sorry. Again, I don't want to shit on these players. It's gonna end up being me shitting on the players anyways, but this is my honest opinion, right? If you want some sugarcoating, just watch someone else. But yeah, Aether, I never thought he was like crazy good. I never really rated him high. So it is interesting that, you know, they picked him up because Aether hasn't played a competitive season of MPL nor MDL in a while. He's been inactive. So I don't think Aether will play. I think Aether will replace Ray for the worst jungler in ID. That's my personal prediction. Again, no hate to Aether. I'm so sorry. It is not meant to be hate, okay? I'm sorry, Aether. That's just, you know, my personal factual opinion based on performances. Rio, on the other hand, is amazing, bro. This guy's a prodigy. I swear to God. Like, I did not rate Aether, but I am going to rate Rio. His performance in Snapdragon was amazing, and I really hope he keeps the same energy. I really hope he takes a Snapdragon loss and he turns that into motivation, because this guy is very, very promising, amazing on the assassins, and it is the assassin meta. So if the team can actually enable Rio to make plays, very high mechanics and great potential. But unfortunately, I think with the 2 downgrades that they got in, you know, again, by the way, in the jungle, even though this is an upgrade when it comes down to pure mechanics to aggression, I would say it's a massive downgrade when it comes to decision making still. Vincent is definitely a lot more stable than Rio. So Rio is more of a double-edged sword that they need to try to utilize well. That's why I said earlier that they definitely need to play to enable Rio. But yeah, because of the downgrade in the gold lane, I think that's quite a big downgrade. I'll actually put them in B. I think they're a team. Oh wait, I forgot to change the screen. But you know what? Despite everything that I've said about them, I think they have the potential to hit B. Or even, I'm not even joking, okay? This sounds crazy, but it comes down to the coaching staff. It really does. It comes down to how stable they can be. Because if they are stable, if they can play with the weak side and mat and play for the strong side up top, everything fits in this lineup. Like it just makes sense for this lineup to work, right? Because they got a stable gold laner that they needed. They don't need a superstar gold laner because they're going to be playing for a superstar jungler. I'm not going to put them in A. Definitely not. They definitely still are B. But again, this is a team with a lot of potential. And I think in Season 14, we might be able to see a good Rebellion. I know most people have been saying Rebellion are going to be ass. I really hope not. Because everybody in this team is super underrated. Most people hate on Audi because he's you know, he talks a lot. Audi is amazing. I still stand by that. Suelo is one of the best, most underrated mid laners in MPL Indonesia still. Kars is the most underrated XP laner for sure. And he is an amazing playmaker. This guy is so good, dude. So, again, a lot of potential. I'll put Rebellion in the same tier as Geek Fam for now. All right, let's move on to the next team, which is going to be Alter Ego. And this is a very promising lineup. I just got to tell you guys that, you know, I am looking forward to actually to see this lineup in action in MPL Indonesia Season 14. So, let's go through, you know, Alter Ego once again. It is going to be Rekt and Aldo as the head coach, as the coaching staff for Alter Ego, which is really cool that Rekt is stepping into the sorry, what am I thinking about? The head coach role here, okay? So let's move on to the whole roster. Nino is going to be moving from gold lane to XP. We're going to have Gebe, a new jungler in the team, and also Niall. You guys know Niall. He's still loaned by ONIC Prodigy, or from ONIC Prodigy. Roundel, the mid laner that should have been, I would say, the main mid laner for last season, but unfortunately it was Krite, and then it became Sully Boy. Heis is going to be in the gold lane, so the real gold lane now, and they got Owen too. So if you guys don't know where Owen is from, Owen is also from ONIC Prodigy, and what's cool about this lineup is the fact that Aldo, the head coach, he was the guy that actually found these players. He's the guy who actually scouted these new players. Niall and Owen, back when Aldo was in ONIC, he actually scouted Niall and Owen together with Mars. So the fact that, you know, now it's kind of like a reunion with Aldo is pretty cool. But again, this lineup, pretty promising, honestly. Really, really good. Let's talk about their weaknesses in the previous season. Template gameplay, very one-dimensional. They literally just play for early game, neutral objective number 1. If they fail to get neutral objective number 1, or if they fail to get a lead by neutral objective number 1, they lose the game. That is it. That was Alter Ego. Alter Ego, I would say this. Yeah, they were legit the worst team in MPL Indonesia. That is not in season 13. They were the worst team in MPL Indonesia. Like, oh my god, it was so frustrating talking about Alter Ego. I think you guys remember. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, every single week for a mere recap, I remember just saying, all right, well, same thing, same problems for Alter Ego. They go for template fights. If they don't win the early game, they lose the game. Like, honestly, I would even say if Alter Ego, last season's Alter Ego was in MDL, they would be pretty shit. Like, they would actually be a mid-table team in MDL. They wouldn't even be champions in MDL. That's how much I hated how they played in MDL. Krite is fucking overrated as fuck last season. Again, no hate to Krite. I do not mean to hate you, but everybody was, I remember in the early parts of the season, everybody was like, oh my God, Krite, where was he when he was in EVOS? Look at him, he's so good. No, he plays the same way. It's just that, you know, the team was also winning in the early game. That's it. They were able to, every other team was able to dissect them by the time, you know, we got to like the middle of the season. And I'm glad that Alter Ego read that shit too. They finally realized, you know, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to make him the main mid laner here when the only strength he has is he can play a lot of different heroes. I think every mid laner can play a lot of different heroes if you just pick a hero for him. Anyways, I'm not trying to hate on Krite, man. It sounds like I'm hating Krite. I'm sorry, Krite. I'm so sorry. It's not personal, I swear. It was just, I don't really rate you. Taz. I love Taz. It was a great player last season in the jungle. He wasn't a great player last season in the jungle, unfortunately. He was a mid-tier jungle last season. Does he have a lot of potential? Yes. Do I still really like him as a player? Yes. But from what I've heard, there are definitely some big attitude issues for Taz, and he definitely needs to, you know, relearn a lot of things, and he needs to stay humble now. And I think for sure I could definitely see that too, right, for Taz. And as a fan of Taz, I'll have to say, Taz, if you are watching this, you're playing an Alter Ego X, show the world that, show at least Alter Ego first that you deserve a spot in MPL, because for me, you do deserve it. And the things that's stopping you from becoming a great jungler is yourself. Check that ego, check yourself, and strive to be better, because I know you can be better. Okay, that's a personal message to Taz. They also had Pi. Pi was very template. Again, many people were calling him the best XP in the first 2 weeks, and I also agree with them, because in the first 2 weeks he was popping off, but yeah, he got exposed for being very, very one-dimensional, only going for engages, and really, that's about it. Nino has always been more of a fighter in the gold lane anyways. When he joined in Season 7 and when he played in Season 8, he was always, you know, he was always a fighter in the gold lane. He played the Benedetta, the Yuzong, the Esmeralda back in the day. And then he transitioned to Mage and Marksman, obviously, after the meta changed. But I always see him still as more of a fighter than he is a marksman. Because some of the moves he makes is not a marksman move. You know, he walks up forward, he puts himself in a very weird spot. And I think he does fit better in the XP. So great on them that they are giving him a chance in the XP lane. I am also a big fan of Nino, and I think he will perform in the XP lane just based on how like good he is on these fighters that we've seen before. Niall, we don't need to talk about him. He's an amazing, stable jungler that I think he's had a lot of time to actually, you know, progress. Despite him not playing in the last season of MPL, I think he took that time to reevaluate himself and, you know, get better. And I really think Niall is going to be a good player this season. Roundel, have yet to see what he can bring to the table, so we'll see about that. Highs, dude, these two side laners for Alter Ego are so aggressive. Like, Highs is probably the most aggressive gold lane. Nino is probably the most he was the most aggressive gold lane, Nino, and now he's probably the most aggressive XP. So it almost seems like they have a stable mid lane and they have two bonker side lanes. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds familiar to SRG, but I don't think they're going to be as strong as SRG, at least not instantly. If you give this team time to cook, though, I think they can be very, very scary, especially with Owen. And, dude, ONIC Prodigy seems to be an amazing MDL team to just get talent here and there, right? Because Litpi came from ONIC Prodigy. Niall came from ONIC Prodigy. We've seen these two prove themselves in MPL. D, last season in Rebellion, came from ONIC Prodigy. And the only two members that haven't gotten, you know, spotlight yet is their mid laner, which is Owen again. And I'm so sorry. I forgot the mid laner that they have in I forgot the mid laner, dude. I'm so sorry that I forgot his name, but they also have a mid laner from the same time as all these other players, and he was really good. I think he just changed his name, but Sasser, his old name was Sasser. Yeah, he's also really, really good. And again, ONIC Prodigy just never fails to produce good talent. Owen is part of that, and he's a good reactive roamer. I think this composition actually does have a lot of strong points. You can definitely see why they chose these players, to fit in. Two aggressive side laners, a stable trio mid. Let's see where I would rate them in the tier list. Let's move over to the tier list here. For Alter Ego, oof, do I want to give him A? I think I might have to give him A. Again, this is a roster full of potential. Based on the lineup, it actually does look pretty good. Like, it actually does look really, really good. Is it better than Rebellion, though? Probably, but is it better than GEEK, though? GEEK also still have Beloy and Aboy and Chidera, just to be safe, I will put Alter Ego. I'll put Geek Fam there. You know what? Yeah, let's move Geek Fam a bit to the top. Let's move Alter Ego here. Yeah, I think yeah. Okay. We'll try to reevaluate later, all right? All right, boys. So I want to tell you guys a bit. For some reason, I'm editing the video right now, and for some reason, the BIGETRON Alpha one that I did got corrupted. I cannot use it in the video. So I'm going to have to redo this. Bear with me here. I won't put them in the tier list because you'll see it later as to where I put it anyways. But because I already closed the tab, I thought everything was recorded. But okay. I'll try to say whatever I said earlier already. So BIGETRON Alpha. It doesn't matter how many times they fucking lose. I'll always be supporting this team right here. Every single one of these members, okay? Luke, Supercan, Moreno, Eman, Key, Finn, you guys are always going to be my goats, okay? So let's just get... I'm so pissed because I recorded a 7-minute segment for BIGETRON Alpha. I spoke about so many things. Okay, I'll just cramp it up so, I'll just fit it in the video right now. BIGETRON Alpha, my favorite team. Last season, their weaknesses. Sorizo, I would say, is a big weakness for the team. I would say also Key was a big weakness for the team. Sorizo only played really just enabler picks like the Terizla and then the X-Borg. From time to time, he does play the X-Borg. But yeah, a Terizla, X-Borg, CC. I'm trying to think of another pick, but he doesn't play the Yuzong. He doesn't play the Benedetta. He doesn't... Oh, Paquito. There you go, Paquito. So he plays those picks, and he just struggles with a lot of the other picks in the meta. I don't know what it is, but that definitely helped, their opponents draft around up against BIGETRON Alpha, make it very, very easy to draft around BIGETRON Alpha. But still, I respect Sorizo as a player, and I still will support him in DEWA United, that the team that he's gone to now. But still, for BIGETRON Alpha, unfortunately, he was a big problem. And Key was maybe an even bigger problem in the playoffs. In the regular season, I would say he was actually top 2 last season. Like, he was just below Keyboy, I would say, in the regular season. Again, in the playoffs, he was... Yaoi was definitely better in the playoffs. But anyways, yeah. He went from second best roamer to worst roamer in the playoffs. For some reason, I have no idea what happened to Key. But again, for Key, I really hope he performs. And, for the longest time, the best way to make Key perform has been to put a replacement, technically, a competitor in the same team. And this time, they actually got Finn. Finn is a new roamer for BIGETRON Alpha. In BIGETRON Beta, the way that BIGETRON Beta played was legit just play for Shive, the gold laner, who already has MPL experience, who was also really, really good. So Finn was a roamer that actually plays a lot for the gold lane. See what I'm getting at here? A roamer that plays for the gold lane a lot in MPL PH with Eman. He is Eman's light, technically, he doesn't play Franco. I don't think. He probably does, but yeah, he plays for the gold lane. So he's going to try to enable Eman for the most part. And I'll talk about the biggest issue for BIGETRON Alpha last season. Yes, we mentioned Sorizo. I mentioned Key. But the biggest problem for BIGETRON Alpha wasn't these two members. I don't want to fully just blame it on them. I don't want to blame it on coaching staff as well. Because, again, coaching staff fully changed now. No Kescue, no NMM, no Raiseboy. Shout out to them. They're my goats, especially Raiseboy. But, yeah, back to my point. Biggest weakness point for BIGETRON Alpha is not the player. It's not the coaching staff. It's their mental. They were the best team in MPL ID in the regular season. And I think most people can agree with me when I say that. I am a biased. I'm technically biased, but I try my best whenever I make these videos to be as unbiased as, what was it called? As neutral as I can be, right? Again, I support this team. That is no secret. But clearly, their mental was very, very bad. was so bad last season. Because, again, they were the best team in MPL Indo in the regular season, and in the playoffs, they became the worst team in the playoffs. I actually could say that if they didn't get the upper bracket slot, they would have lost in the first day. They would have lost to any one of the teams in the first day. Because that's how bad they performed in the playoffs. So mental is definitely something they need to try to fix here with the entire team. I hope Wura and Theo Nail can actually be the changes. Like, they could be the guys to actually fix the team when it comes to that department. The good change to be made. Because, yes, coaching staff fully sacked. Now it's going to be Wura as head coach. That was previously the analyst for Geek Fam. And Theo Nail, the analyst now. That was previously the head coach for BIGETRON Beta. I trust these guys. You know, Wura is really good. I believe he was working with VYs back in the day, and he helped create the Ube meta. That I don't know if that's true, but yeah, that's what I've heard from the chat, from the comments. Theo Nile is an amazing analyst. He is really, really hardworking, very diligent. So for BIGETRON Alpha, I think they have improved the 2 weak points. In Sorizo, they've changed him. They got Luke here, and for the Rome, at least now, I would say Key is going to play better now that there is a competitor for his role. And Finn, he definitely fits the style of play that BIGETRON Alpha want to play now. And this is just a message, a personal message to every single one of these members, right? You guys are fucking amazing. You guys are amazing. You guys can be champions, okay? And I think it's time for you guys to put that in your heads. Get your head in the game. Especially to Super Ken. My goat. My boy. Super Ken. I know you just got a girlfriend. It's cool. I know how it feels. But get your fucking head in the game. You have the talent. You have the potential to be one of the greatest junglers in MLBB. And the only thing stopping you is yourself, brother. Okay? Get your head in the game. I know for a fact Super Ken can still be the best jungler in the world. Even then, alright? This might be cope. That's a personal message for me. That's the only biased part of the video. And by the way, if you guys want to know where I put them in the tier list, because I deleted it earlier because it was corrupted, I put them in S tier, just right below FNATIC ONIC, because I would say that's fair. Again, you can say I'm biased, and hey, maybe I'll just say I'm biased. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. And if you take a look at this lineup, especially after you see the regular season, they still have the best gold laner in MPL Indo, in my opinion. They still have Iman. They have the best XP laner in Indo now with Luke. Key and Finn, we'll see how they do. Super Ken is definitely still, like, when it comes to assassins, at least when it comes to utility, yeah, I don't think he's like the best, but assassins, he's with Taz out and with Kyrie underperforming. Yeah, I would actually be pretty comfortable to say and confident to say that he is up there, probably number 1 when it comes to assassin jungle. And Moreno, top 2. At least for Ken, if it's not number 1, he's number 2, right? But Moreno, second to Sans. He's there with a boy, I feel, on the same level, right? So yeah, that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think, and we're going to move on to the next team. All right, and the next team that we are going to be talking about is RRQ HOSHI. And my God, am I also excited for this lineup. I am not an RRQ fan. That is Arashi. That is not me. But man, I'm excited for this lineup. I really, really am. Because let's backtrack. RRQ, if they decide to alter the lineup mid-season, if they decide to disband this lineup by the end of the season and forge a new lineup next season, I said this on stream before. First time you did it with Naomi was already weird. Second time you did it with Irad and Brusco and all the other players that you had before, what the fuck? If you do it a third time, downright idiotic. Okay, so let's talk about this lineup. The weaknesses in the previous lineup, okay. Weaknesses in the previous lineup, no synergy. They kept on fucking changing everything. Very one-dimensional. They only played for Skylar, and Don was never good. I swear to God. I'm sorry. We're always going to be hating on the previous lineups, okay? I'm not trying to hate these players individually. I already hated on a lot of players. Don was never really good. He was good 1 week. He played really good in week 3. Week 5? I forgot which week, but he won Rookie of the Week. I also personally voted for him because I thought he played really well. But Banana was always better than Don. I never really understood why they swapped Don in for Banana and kicked Banana and, you know, listen to the audiences. Because I even remember like an MP show. An MP show is like a weekly, you know, kind of thing where we have conversations with Jonathan Leandi. Shout out to him. Clover made a clip about, you know, talking about how Banana made mistakes. And I agree. There were some mistakes there for Banana. But Don was playing like an absolute template boy. It was worse. At least Banana could think for himself, you know? At least he could be selfish. Don was just like, he's a robot that gets commanded and then he does things, okay? That you need a player with a... But I want to backtrack again because the real XP that should have played for RRQ HOSHI all the way from the start was not Banana, was not Don. These two don't deserve to be in MPL. You know who deserved to be in MPL? Especially after the Dyron play? It's Dyron, bro. Where the fuck has Dyron been? Now he's in the lineup. Amazing stuff. Congratulations, Dyron, for coming back finally. I don't know what took you this long to come back into the lineup, but goddamn, do I miss seeing him in MPL. This guy was one of the stars, if not the biggest star for Rebellion when they made it to the playoffs first time ever in Season 10. This guy was amazing for RRQ HOSHI when he just joined, and for some reason, he performed well. What do you do next? Put him in MDL. No, keep him in. He's great. Just trust in him, all right? I trust in Dyron. He's going to do really good. Anyways, moving on. Jungle, it was Irad. Irad was doing okay. Fersik came in. Fersik was doing pretty shit. I think that's... The weaknesses are pretty easy for RQ now that I think about it. So let's move on to just have they improve the roster. Sutsujin and Hazel over Fersik and Irad. I'm still a fan of Irad, by the way. Most RQ fans don't like Irad now. They call him El Martabak because Martabak is the food that he likes to eat there. I'm still a fan of Irad. I still think Irad is good, but whatever. If you guys don't think so, whatever. It's changed anyways now. Hazel, phenomenal player. Sutsujin definitely has more experience, and I would definitely say he should be trusted more compared to Hazel when it comes to the early weeks. But once Hazel gets time, I would say Hazel has more potential than Sutsujin. I think that might be weird to say because Sutsujin is an amazing player and he definitely has very high potential too. Honestly, both of them are really good. Sutsujin was always really good. He's never bad. He didn't make it to the playoffs, but he was individually never bad. He always shined in the team, and I think in this roster, he would actually be pretty good. In the roam and the mid, they have decided to pick up their 2 MDL players that come from the same team as Gugun before Gugun was picked up by Aura. It is Idok, and Rinzia. Idok and Rinzia. They were great, dude. They were amazing in MDL. And even last season when they played for RRQ Senna, the MDL RRQ, they were good too. So in trusting our, the new players is great. All of that though, after we've spoken about all of the new players, I would say the biggest addition to this team and why this team can actually work is the coaching staff. Kez Cute, he was in BIGETRON. I knew him. He is an amazing, amazing coach. And honestly, if I'm just taking a look at the lineup, honestly, for the I'm actually quite underwhelmed because usually RQ have big names all the time, right? So this is the most underwhelming roster when it comes to star power, at least for the names. But my goodness, the quality and the potential of this team is pretty high. Like, I am not even joking. There was even a post for MPL ID and they asked me, which team are you looking out for? I said RQ. Why? Trust in Cascute and NMM. These guys can make an average team an amazing team. And I think because of the coaching staff, bro, RQ are going to be solid by the end of the season, I would say. And RQ is going to enter the A tier 2 here. Yeah, so let's move on to the next team. I'm very sorry for this, boys, but I couldn't find a better picture for DEWA United. Anyways, though, this is the lineup. Let's just get straight into it, right? For DEWA United, what are the changes made in the team? They have Sorizo coming in the XP lane. They've gotten rid of Dixon. They've gotten rid of their old mid laner as well. And they have added in Hijume, who was part of the EVOS roster that made it to MSC 2023 and the EVOS roster that actually won ISF. That's Hijume. Aside from that, though, they have also added in Ray back into their lineup. Everything else has stayed the same, technically. In the XP, they still have Kimura. But yeah, they've added Sorizo, Ray, and Sorry, mid lane. Why am I blanking out? Hijume. Yeah, Hijume into the lineup. And also, they are going to be adding a new coach in, which is going to be Erpang, who was the coach for Geek Fam when they made it to M5. This is a really solid team, but the fact that they've changed so many of these players and the fact that I just feel like the changes made here is a bit too much. Usually we see like a one-man addition, stuff like that. For RQ, it was also a big change in the lineup, but maybe, yeah, but for DEWA, it's a bit different because they didn't do well. RQ at least made it to the playoffs. DEWA didn't. And DEWA were very, very inconsistent last season. The fact that they also lost Drian means that these players will have to relearn a lot of different things. And again, with this lineup, I'm not too sure if they can actually perform like they did before, even. Because at least last season... Oh, sorry, they have Mueza too. Drian is out and they have Mueza. Mueza is a pretty good roamer from MDL. He was from Geek Fam Junior. I think though, this time around for DEWA, let's just move on to the tier list here. I think DEWA are definitely the weakest team. Like it's a tie between DEWA and Rebellion when it comes to just like on paper, you know, their lineup. But again, I don't want to shit on this lineup because for DEWA, I would honestly say that they have a pretty solid lineup that, if given time, can perform. Mueza has a lot of potential. Sorizo is a good, stable XP lane for the team. In the jungle, they have Ray coming back from whatever he's learned from Geek Fam, and he's definitely already better than when he joined Geek Fam. The mid lane too, Hijume, a lot of experience. He brings that to the table, but he has been inactive, so that's why I don't really want to rate him too high. This is how I see them, though, right now, okay? So let's move on to the final team. All right, last but definitely not least, we got EVOS Glory, our second Indonesian representatives that went to MSC and unfortunately also got grouped. And it seems like for them, they're trusting the process, which is amazing. They have a lot of young players, a lot of like rookie players like Klokun, Anavel, who can still perform really, really well. And what I really love about this is the fact that they are going to give brands some more competition in the gold lane. Because last season, it was just brands. Like, I know the other dude, I forgot his name, I'm sorry, but the other dude was in the lineup too. He played one match in the El Clasico, in the Classic Derby against RQ, and he didn't do too well. But ever since that, brands really didn't have competition. It was just brands, right, in the lineup as the gold lane. The fact that they got Doma now is good, dude. I'm a big fan of Doma. I've always been a big fan of Doma. I think you guys have heard me talk about Doma so many times in the past. I like that they're actually sticking with this team, and I honestly feel like they are still going to be really, really strong. The bad part about EVO's Glory, at least last season, the weakness points aren't actually the individual players here. Actually, it is technically the individual players as well, because for Dreams, especially if you look into it, his hero pool is very limited. Fluffy is very reactive in the way that he plays, so it really comes down to him being able to mirror. He's like Kakashi. He's the copy ninja. He tries to copy whatever the opponents do, right? So in a lot of different positions, he can actually be outplayed because all he does is copy and he doesn't have his own signature playstyle. He used to have it back when he was in Aura. He used to have his own playstyle where he just joined team fights randomly and he doesn't care about his own lane. But yeah, he's lost that. Now he's more of a mirroring type of XP laner. What was I going to say? All right, yeah, they're very one-dimensional as well when it comes to just fighting and taking games. The only way they win in these games and take games off of their opponents were just better team fights. They were literally just better in team fights. Because the setup, the fundamentals, a lot of times they would actually lose out to most teams here in MPL Indo. But their team fighting was second to none, almost second to ONIC actually. Yeah, in the previous season. But even then, their team fights were very one-dimensional. They were only just relying on layered CC and layered AoE abilities like the Tigreal into the Edith and stuff like that into the X-Borg. So yeah, they definitely need to fix that department. They definitely need to try to add more styles in for this team. But this is a team with a lot of potential. Still, Anavel, amazing jungler. Doma, great potential. I would say by the end of this season, it should be Doma as the main gold laner over Brands, but we'll see about that. Klokun is also really, really good. And for that reason, I would actually say EVOS are going to be here. I would... Damn, this is tough. I'll put them over Liquid. They have proven themselves a bit more in Indo, at least. And again, the fact that they are trusting this roster, I love the fact that they are trusting the roster. I love the fact that they're not changing anything and they're just adding Doma in. So this is the official list. I don't think I'm actually going to be changing anything now that I'm looking at it again. RQ may be able to take this. I would say RQ maybe can take this, like over here. But yeah, this is how I see MPL Indonesia based on the rosters. And obviously, this isn't like this isn't a prediction for what's to come. I really hope it's a prediction, because obviously FNATIC and BIGETRON, I really hope this happens. But obviously, this is just more of my honest take of the rosters. We haven't seen them play. I don't have scrim results. So maybe I'm completely wrong here. What do you guys think in the comment section below? You can leave it down. And now we're going to move on to MPL PH, which is going to be a bit different. All right, boys, for MPL PH, we're going to do more of just like a fast one, pull out a fast one here, back and forth, just going to go back to back. And don't expect it to be as detailed as MPL ID's one, where I actually talk about the weaknesses in the previous season, because again, I did not follow MPL PH as thoroughly as I did MPL ID, because I was casting MPL ID for every single day of MPL Indonesia, so didn't have time to actually tune into MPL PH while I was casting. But yeah, I'm just going to give you guys my honest, opinions on a lot of the rosters, whether I think it's going to be good, whether I think it's going to be bad. That's it. Yeah. Let's start with Falcons AP Bren. Again, nothing has changed for this lineup. They are keeping the same lineup, and there's no reason for them to change their lineup, really. This lineup has been so consistent for the longest time. And even though we have seen a bit of slumps, I don't even want to call it slumps, because in MSC, they still made it to grand finals. I don't think you can call that a slump. In Snapdragon, they ultimately were able to win it all again through lower brackets, the fucking kings of lower bracket. But yeah, this team is just complete. We all know how good this team is, and I don't think we really need to, take long to make a decision here. It is S tier for sure for Falcons AP Bren's lineup. There is no question about that. And moving on to the next team, I think this is another quick fire one where we've seen this team perform again. They only lost against Falcons AP Bren at MSC, and they only lost against Falcons AP Bren at Snapdragon. For some reason, Falcons AP Bren just have their number, but this team has improved so much. And again, even though they lost in Snapdragon, I want to talk a little bit more about Liquid, because for Liquid, at least they look a bit more, like their story has looked a bit more shaky compared to Falcons AP Bren, who's just been constantly on top of the world, even in MSC Grand Finals. Can't take that away from them. Liquid, though, in MSC, it was just very easy to spot out the mistakes, and for the most part, their mistake is the draft, right? The draft was definitely getting really, really tough for them because of Carl Tizzi's hero pool. The fact that he couldn't play the Assassins, or he wasn't comfortable playing the Assassins up against top teams in MSC, was a big problem for him. And in a matter of, 2 weeks? Less? Before Snapdragon, he was able to play the Assassins and improve on the Assassins that fast to make them such a menace in Snapdragon Pro Series. After that, the draft just looks so solid, and I would say it also is because they have a new addition in coaching staff. From what I've heard, Carl Tizzi has been the one drafting for Liquid for the longest time now, since Trevor left. So now that they have additional help with the draft, and it's not going to be just burdened all upon Carl Tizzi's shoulders, Carl Tizzi is going to be performing even better on the Assassins. He's going to improve even more, and I think this team, if you give them more time, will probably be able to beat Falcons AP Bren one day, right? In the regular season, or maybe in the playoffs. Nothing, like, I don't need to talk about it much. We know how good Liquid Echo already are. We know they have the best XP in the world. Still stand by that. Let's move on to Smart Omega. I don't know how to talk about. I really don't know how to feel about Smart Omega, because the only player I rate highly in this lineup is, I have two players that I rate highly. Ryota is a great XP laner, and Chaknu is an amazing roamer. But that's it. I would say everybody else is a bit basic. I know Rebo is a legend in the Philippines, but it's almost like wrecked in Indo, to the international viewers, especially because of recent performances. Wrecked is not good in the eyes of international viewers, and I would have to say the same for Rebo. He is just not good in the eyes of me, an international viewer. I know he was the GOAT back in the day. He was amazing. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but currently it's just underwhelming to see him in the roster. This whole lineup just feels like a team that could work again, but these strong points are definitely the carries here. Chaknu and Ryota. Hopefully they prove me wrong, but I think it's a very easy one for me here for Smart Omega. I'm just going to put them in B tier. Let's move on to the next roster, which is going to be RGPH. And they haven't changed anything. They got Irad back That's it. And Nats is still in the lineup, it seems. By the way, I don't know why Nats' face looks like that. I don't think this is a bad photo, definitely, right? I don't. but yeah. Anyways, RSGPH is just such a weird team, dude. I swear to God, this team is the weirdest team. By the way, one improvement already: better jerseys. Goddamn. Thank you, RSGPH, for listening to the criticism. I don't know if they actually did. I'm just making shit up. But last season's jersey was horrendous. Yeah, better jersey this time around. Will I say Irad's an upgrade compared to Demon Kite? Back in the day, when Irad just joined RSG, yes, Irad was definitely an upgrade compared to Demon Kite. But now, especially after Irad's mental has just been completely destroyed in both Snapdragon and MPL ID, I don't think Irad's an upgrade to Demon Kite. Am I still a fan of Irad? Yes. Do I still think he has a lot of potential? Yes. Do I still think Panda is going to make Irad a beast again? Yes, but not instantly. And yeah, overall, it's the same lineup with basically downgraded a bit in the jungle. Still very 50-50 though. For some reason, RSG never are consistent. They're either the best team in the world or they are a mid team. Yeah, I'm going to put RSG still in A though, because, hey, this is a team that can, you know, make upsets happen. We've seen that many, many times before. Let's move on to the next one, which is going to be Aurora. Oh, my Lord. What a team, bro. I mean, just look at this team, right? Edward, Yue, Demon Kite. We got Domeng, too. Ben Things and Ben Things is there, too, which is cool. Renegade is there, too, which is pretty cool. Ben Things and Renegade. Yeah, this is basically just Blacklist. It's Blacklist with Demon Kite and Domeng, right? I would say they took the strong points of Blacklist International. Edward and Yue were definitely the two highlights for me when I watched Blacklist International last season. So the fact that they got them, a crazy deal, and they have the two coaches that have worked with them for the longest time as well, Master the Basics and Dexstar. I think it's a bit controversial when we're talking about Master the Basics because I think a lot of fans, especially of Blacklist, have been hating on some of the drafts from MTB. We'll see how they do though this season. I think there's been a lot of conversations online asking if this is a super team, and I will say yes, this is a super team according to me. Edward is an amazing XP. He's definitely still top tier. Yue is second best mid laner probably in MPL PH, just below Sanji individually. Demon Kite is a stable jungler that they need for a team full of all-stars like this. And Domeng is a hidden gem, definitely. Like, the only reason he didn't pop off fully and he didn't get as much recognition as he should have is because he was playing in Minana. And Minana were not that good, right, overall. But yeah, really strong, I would say, for Aurora. The weak link for me has got to be the Roamer. Renegade is still good, though. I'm not trying to say the Renegade is ass or anything, but if I were to choose a weak link, it would be Renegade. And it's not because he's bad. It's just because everybody else is so good. Ben Things as well. Yeah. So Renegade and Ben Things, weak point. But they don't even need to be like super strong. I think the roamers right now, a lot of like easy roamers are there. Renegade is very smart as a roamer, and he can just play out of his mind with like the Minotaurs and shit. So Aurora, I'm actually going to put them high S. This is probably the highest S tier team that for me personally, they're probably the highest S tier team. Let's move on to the next team, which is going to be TNC. Oh, this team. You know exactly why this team is like now up there when it comes to like my favorites. And it's because of Mr. Babaero Chupaero Wolf. Babaero Wolf. This guy's my idol, dude. He's super fucking smart. And I'm really happy to see him actually transition from caster to be a coaching to be a part of the coaching staff. Luckily for him, there's not really a lot of expectations, I would say, when you join a team like TNC. This is a team that hasn't made it to playoffs for the last 4 seasons, and honestly, with their lineup, it's still very like mid. There is nothing here that screams, top 4. But I really hope that gets proven wrong. Again, this is Wolf. I always trust in Wolf. I will be supporting this team. But still, based on the roster on paper here, these are players who haven't really been able to shine. But their coaching staff, dude, the coaching staff is more stacked than the players. Like, if you take a look at the coaching staff, right? They got Etumax as well as Wolf. I have so much respect for Etumax and for Wolf. these guys are insane. So for sure, they're going to make this lineup the best that they could be. But how good can this lineup be? You know, they're bottlenecked by the team. I hope that I am completely wrong. I hope they can actually perform well. And again, with Wolf being there, I would say that they should be able to at least... are they going to do better than Smart Omega? I don't know. Well, it's tough. It's tough. Because I'm biased to TNC. Because, you know, Wolf is there. Whatever. We'll put him there. Let's move on to Blacklist International. Oh, my God. What a lineup they have here. We got Delar back in the lineup. My boy. We got MP the King. I rate him very highly, by the way. MP the King. He's a great jungler, actually. I think recently he's gotten a lot of hate. Malaysians probably hate him a lot. But as a player... And as a dude, I personally, I'm good with him. I'm chill with him. I don't hate him. I know, you know, he made some comments against Malaysia, but whatever. I think MP is actually still, he's an amazing player. I swear to God. Like, dude, he made See You Soon. The team, you saw what See You Soon did without MP. This guy's good, okay? This guy is really good. HOSHI back into the mid lane, I believe. Amazing. Amazing. I don't know if he's actually back to the mid lane, though. I'm just assuming. But if he goes back to the mid lane, I'm a big fan of HOSHI. And most people are probably going to be like, yeah, this lineup ain't going to do well. And to a certain extent, I understand where that's coming from. I understand. These are basically a lot of new players. Obviously, a lot of veterans, too, to be fair. They got Oheb, they got Exort, they got Kimpoi, who's been in the lineup for a while, but hasn't really seen a lot of game time. But they have new rookies, too. I don't know if you want to call Outplayed a rookie, because he was in the lineup for Echo, but... Outplayed is here. He's a good goal laner, a stable, a very, very solid goal laner. Lord JM is back in Philippines. As an ex-Bigetron player, I will always be a fan of all the ex-Bigetron players. So Lord JM, full support there. And I would actually say Blacklist are a pretty solid team. I would say they should be here. But I understand why a lot of people would actually put them lower than this. But for now, I will actually say, based on rosters, they're not that bad. They're not as bad as people think. The main problem I would say for them is, you know, synergy, because this is a completely new team, and for that reason, I guess we'll have to put them here. Damn, Omega and Blacklist in the bottom of MPL PH. Can you imagine that? Have you ever seen that? I don't know if you've ever seen that, but yeah, maybe based on like the star power alone, I would say Blacklist is like here, but because you know they still have really good players. MP is really good. Outplayed is really good. HOSHI is amazing. Oheb is still in the lineup. Brings in a lot of veterancy. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with that. Yeah. Last but not least, FNATIC ONIC Philippines. They got Spider Miles in the lineup this time. Now, I don't know how that actually will... I don't know how that will help the lineup get stronger. Because I felt like Escalera was a good fit for the team, you know. They're very, very aggressive. Spider Miles is not an aggressive roamer, so the style of play will definitely have to kind of change for the team. With that big of a change, I actually don't know if this team is going to be good. Because, again, they have really good players. Again, Spider Miles in Minana is amazing, but with these players, it just doesn't feel like it's the right match for me. I don't know. What do you guys think, right? Again, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. But, yeah, I would still say they're better than Blacklist, roster-wise. You know, they have a lot of good players there. But, honestly, this team could actually fall, like, really far down if the synergy doesn't click. Because, again, the playstyle is not the same. And even if they want to go aggressive, they got Brusco. Brusco's not bad, but he's definitely not, like, top tier either. Escalera was... I really like how Escalera played. He was a bit troll in the playoffs, though. But yeah, these are my personal ratings for every single lineup, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Whether you agree, whether you disagree, leave a like. And obviously, if you guys want to watch, go ahead and check out MPL Indonesia because it will start literally tomorrow. And I'm excited for it. I don't know if you guys will be excited for it, but I hope you guys will be excited for it. That's it for me. I'll see you guys in MPL Indonesia. Peace out.